So I came across another communist type professor, but this time he's in Seattle. And I came across it from this site called Campus Reform. If you haven't heard of it, I'd recommend you check it out. They always post stuff about that is happening on university campuses and stuff that teachers are posting or saying, just like the ridiculous stuff that is going on, in universities. But nonetheless, there's this guy who recently wrote a book about video games. A Seattle University professor contends in a new book that toxic meritocracy in video games helps fuel the dark sides of gaming culture. So, like once again, this is the same thing as that video I did like a week ago, where that guy did this thing. It's okay to be against whiteness. He mentioned where he's against capitalism, meritocracy, all this shit. So this is just uh, a dog whistle for him and his communist buddies, right? Like, just lets you know that this guy is completely against Western civilization and pretty much wants to dismantle it. But the toxic meritocracy of video games, why gaming culture is the worst, was recently published by Seattle University professor Christopher Paul, a longtime gamer who teaches classes on communication, video games, and gender issues. Gender issues, right away there's a red flag. There should not be a class on gender issues, because all that's going to be is uh, gender baiting between the sexes, right? It's going to be, oh, men treat women like shit, so you should be mad at men because they've always treated you like shit. That's pretty much what these gender courses entail half the time. I'm sure it's not all of it, but that is probably a underlying or overlying factor of what they're teaching. But in the book, Paul argues that meritocracy is evidenced by how video games value skill and technique and hard work, and contends that this meritocracy fuels everything from the deep-bred misogyny epitomized by Gamergate to sexist industry practices. So, he's blaming the meritocracy on Gamergate, where that wasn't the case. It was a bunch of feminists and shit trying to instill their ideology and their shit in video games, and people were pushing back against that. So then everybody's like, "Oh, you're a sexist. You hate women because you don't want to see as many women in video games." Blah blah blah. It's a bunch of bullshit. It has nothing to do with meritocracy and capitalism. But as a Marxist, a socialist type person, they always somehow tie it to that, right? But meritocracy is insidious because it seems like the only way to build things, but there are other options, writes Paul in a recent blog, citing games like first-person shooter game Overwatch and Kingdom Come, a game built on conservative political ideology. So he's saying, like, these games have conservative political ideology. So essentially, when I say that the right stands for meritocracy and freedom of speech and all that, you can't really disagree with me, because like, these people are saying that this is what they stand for. Oh, that's conservatism, and it's more meritocracy, and you work hard and succeed. That racist propaganda. But in an interview with Campus Reform, Paul said his inspiration for the book came after attending Seattle University's Arup seminar, a discussion group the university hosts to help professors learn more about Jesuit values and traditions. So, Jesuits, the Jews or something. I don't know. One of my key takeaways was that I had an obligation to use my work to try to make a difference in the world. I thought the blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Though Paul views meritocracy as harmful because of its role in promoting misogyny and sexism, he told Campus Reform that the problem also lies with meritocracy's emphasis on individual achievement instead of collective cooperation. So, yeah, obviously this guy just is a fucking Marxist, hates capitalism, hates everything that our society is built on. And this is who is teaching your kids. This is who is teaching the next generation. We wonder why university students are stupid and insane, and why these high school kids are retarded too. That's why you do not want to lower the age of voting to 16, because that would be an extremely bad idea, because these people are brain dead all through high school and university until they get out and live in the real world, because they're propagandized by teachers like this. Uh, Games are based on leveling up and getting stronger. We expect the most skilled, hardest working player to win. Of course, why wouldn't they win? They're they worked the hardest. The typical narrative in a game is rags to riches story where the player propels the character into a key role and perhaps even attains godlike status, he said. All those things shape our expectations and focus players on individuals rather than the collective. He added, as actualized meritocracies, video games quickly become really toxic spaces where players are focused on individual glory rather than creating positive spaces for interaction. So, what I think this is that this guy probably really sucks at video games. He's probably not very good at a lot of things in life and has never really won anything. So now he wants to make everything kind of like equal, and where nobody's really winning or losing, so he doesn't feel bad about himself when he gets humiliated, because he probably played video games with his friends when he was a kid and then lost all the time. And he's like, fuck, why do I always have to lose? Why can't we all just, play for fun? And, you know one of these kids, right? Because, they're always going to lose and stuff. So, these are pretty much the people who are drawn to socialism, to Marxism and stuff, because they can't compete in the free market. They can't compete with other people. So they got to make everybody equal, an even playing field. They got to cripple the other guy in order so then they can compete, right? But I think he said a little bit more stupid shit. All those things shape our expectations and focus players on individual. I already said that. Not all this is bad, Paul notes, pointing out that the games like Mario Kart and Mario Party are more cooperative and based on luck, contingency, and serendipity, elements that he hopes game developers will prioritize more in the future. Moving away from merit allows communities to develop on different terms, giving an opportunity to build something else, something new, something that has features other than the endemic toxicity that comes with meritocratic systems, Paul trends. So yeah, this he wants to usher in socialism, communism, and these crazy lunatics are teaching our kids. Like, you gotta pull your kids out of university, and I don't know, do something else. Typically, it seems to me, where I've heard other studies, that IQ is linked more to success in life and has less to do with education. So it's probably better for your kids, if you know they're smart already, to not even subject them through some of this university, because they're gonna come out hating you, hating civilization, hating your culture, hating themselves, and destroying everything that you built for them, right? Because they've been taught to hate it. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and check out Campus Reform. Have a good one.